With the QC module, you will see that we have developed two role centers specifically designed around our QC module, the QC admin and the QC user. For this demonstration, I will be using the QC admin role center. In the role center, you will see the QC activities of inventory and production tiles for a quick summary and easy access to your QC documents. At a high level, we will review the QC setup. This is the base setup behind the QC module. On this page, we have the ability to enable the QC module at a company level. We can also enable a document approval flow if you wish to have the functionality to require a secondary approval of QC tests upon entering. The next Fast tab addresses the processes for quarantine. And on the lab and testing samples, you can define the posting setup for the internal and external sampling. Here, you can assign the number series for the QC document and production measurement documents, followed by the inheritance setup fields to simplify processes, followed by the establishment of 6 COA reports that you can utilize throughout Business Central. QC quarantine location. A QC quarantine location is a location within the program where quality control testing is done before the item's lot or serial number can be consumed or sold. This is not a mandatory setup, but if you have a location within the company that is strictly limited to quarantine, you do have the option to set it up in Business Central. The setup for a QC quarantine location is identical to a standard BC location, except for the QC Fast tab. If marked as a quarantine location, then Business Central functionality tracks all inventory movements to and from this location with quality control testing and results. QC groups, tests, and results. The QC module gives you the flexibility to set up the QC groups, tests, and results to best benefit your company's specific quality control needs. I'm going to show you now one of our QC groups. A QC group is a group of tests that are assigned to either an item or an item category, or a routing. This will determine which items or categories or routings that require a QC test result to be entered on a lot before it can be either consumed or sold. Looking at this example, you can see that we have assigned 4 different QC tests to this group. As I highlight each line, you'll notice that the options change based on the results assigned to the QC test. Your test results can either be a decimal, a text, option, or integer, and all of this is defined by you as you set up your QC module. Now we will look at a specific item in our item list. On this item, scrolling down to the QC groups section, you will notice that we have assigned 2 different QC groups to this item. This will trigger a QC document to be created either at output or receipt of this item. As mentioned previously, this functionality can be added to an item category in order to quickly assign across multiple items throughout the system, or on a routing to do a production measure document. QC documents. Within the quality control module, all processes are centered around the QC document. The QC document is associated with a lot or multiple lots. QC documents list page shows all QC documents. Filtered views can be added to display different QC document statuses. Now I will show you how, upon receiving a purchase order, a mandatory QC document will be automatically generated. So by going into my purchase order list page, I'm going to open up purchase order 14. I am prepared to receive this as I show you the item tracking lines that we already have assigned. So with this, I'm going to post and post receive my document and click OK. With the inventory now received, let's actually look at our item card. So we will go back to our item list page, and we're going to open up the item card for our finished good. You'll note that we now have a couple of extra added fields on our inventory fast tab. We have a total of 60 units of this item received as quantity on hand. However, if you note, our quantity available of QC items is only 45,000, and we have 15,000 listed as QC unavailable inventory. So if we drill into our 45,000 units, you'll notice the new lot is not populating because it is not QC passed. If we drill into the 15,000, we will note that our lot 47 is still here and received, however, still on QC hold. From the item card, let's actually go into our QC document list. If we note on our QC document list, QC documents listed on the page. For this, let's filter by our lot number since we still have that, and it'll limit to just the QC items that we have listed for this lot. We're actually going to look at lot 47 for our finished good lot. Let's open up our document. The document displays the number, the date and time the QC document was created, and which user triggered the creation of the document. The next section is where we indicate the sample vendors and customers if we are processing by an external sample. The source information that generated the QC document, including the lot and source information, is next. And finally, the inventory and testing information that is relevant to against this QC document. From within the QC document, we have the ability to create an external sample that can either be added to an existing order for shipment to the lab or creating a new sales order for shipment to the lab. This allows for full traceability of inventory leaving the facility to which the lab it went to. To generate an external sample from a QC document, we must first assign a vendor. Then proceed to the button at the top for Lab and Samples and select Prepare External Sample. The next window that opens will allow you to define how much your sample quantity and from what location the sample is going to be coming from. When you click OK, you'll have your new pop-up window indicating your sales order has been created for sample preparation. If there was already an existing order out there for the same vendor, it would have asked if you wanted to add it to the current order. You will notice on your QC document, the sample sales order number is now populated. We can actually access our order by clicking into the hyperlink, go to Line, and Show Document. You will note that our lab customer now is defined, and we also have our item, our quantity, and all the relevant information to tie this sample order back to the original QC document. If you note on the line item, if you go to the item tracking, the lot number is pre-populated. So let's go ahead and ship this order. With that completed, let's go back to our QC document. With a refresh, we'll see that our sample sales order has now populated with our sales shipment number 2. You will also notice at the bottom, the issued sample quantity is now at 2, and the inventory has been reduced by those 2 units. Now, once we receive the results from the lab, we will want to add the results to the QC document. At that time, it would be advised to enter your external report number, as this will be carried through on the vendor invoicing. So we will come up to our process and enter our QC results. Entering the QC results is extremely simple by validating the value text. As you click onto each line for the testing, you actually see your fact box here that gives you your options and if they are pass or fail reading. So for this one, we're going to actually do 0.04. The chemistry test is actually a test, so we're going to say it was a bio test. Our solvent options are either a pass or a fail. Our temperature, let's record just a fictitious temperature, and a visual as a pass or fail. Once we have entered all of our test results, we'll come up to Process and Post. It asks us if we want to process the QC journal lines, and we will say yes. The journal lines were now successfully posted, and the status on our QC document has passed. You could also issue an internal sample directly from the QC document in the same way as clicking Lab Samples and Prepare Internal Sample. However, I'm going to show you the ability to create a sample via our QC Scan Worksheet.
QC Scan Worksheet. We're going to go into our search box and type in QC Scan Worksheet and click on the link. You'll see our QC Scan Worksheet batch is populated, and in the scan field you can either scan your lot number if you have a barcode system, or you can just enter the lot number that you want to get a QC internal or external sample on. With that, you'll see how the lines are populated, and we actually are going to look at QC document 48. With that, let's click Internal Sample. It gives us the sample quantity populated and our location, and then let's click OK. You have a window that says your sample preparation has been created in the Item Journal Batch QC, and do you want to open the item journal? Let's click Yes. Now that we're on our item journal, you'll see that all of the pertinent information is already populated. We'll enter our reason code of QC sample, and then post the item journal. From there, you would then go back to your QC document and enter in the appropriate QC results. Certificates of analysis. On the QC document, once you have entered your results, you have the ability to either print or email the certificate of analysis. We have 6 different reports available within the QC module, and these reports are available for modification to fit your company needs. QC Lot Information List. The QC Lot Information List is a snapshot of all lots with quality control activity. From the list page view, the user can see the item, the lot and serial number, the various statuses of pass or complete, and the quantities throughout the quality control process. There are also fact boxes, which list the lots, QC documents, the QC test entries, and the archive documents, if they exist. QC production measure documents. Now I will be discussing QC production measurement documents, where we have the ability to enter results against the production process. So let's go into an existing release production order, and we're going to open up for that finished good we've been working with. After I had entered all of the information, Once I had clicked process and refreshed the production order, the production measure document was created. You will notice that we have a fact box with the actual production measure document. We can now either open the document or enter the results directly from here. It'll open our production measure journal. We will enter in our value text. And then we do just like our regular QC documents, and we will post. QC source item and inheritance. QC source items are used to inherit QC testing and results from the source item, lot or serial number, to a new item, lot, serial number. Once a QC source item is set on an item card, the program will pass along the QC test results from that source item to the inheritant item's lot and serial number. To show this, let's actually go to that finished good item in our lot item list. As we scroll down, item tracking area, the QC source items. If we look at these items, we'll note that the raw material that we used in our production order is one of these source items, along with the finished good itself. The program allows for an item to inherit its own results, which this would be used when the item, lot, or serial number is split into multiple lots. Vendors, customers, and the QC module. The QC module also facilitates processes in relationship to the vendors and the customers. We have the ability to reconcile QC documents with the expenses received from the external labs. With that, let's go into our purchase invoices and into the purchase invoice that's created for our lab vendor, Ionic. In the vendor invoice number, I'm going to ensure that I put in that external document number that we had on our original QC document. And then we're going to go down to our lines and our function and get QC documents. With the combination of the vendor number and the external document number, the QC document is now populated in our get documents. With that highlighted, let's hit OK. And it's going to do the reference that we want in here. Let's actually delete this one line. And then we can push through all the way to the direct unit cost, the amount on the invoice from the vendor, and then we would continue the process. Let's go to post. Let's post our invoice. And without going to the posted invoice, let's go back to our original QC document that we were working with, document 46. We'll go to descending order. And if we look on our document, we now actually see our posted purchase invoice is populated on the QC document. This allows accounting to reconcile the vendor invoice with the QC document. In regards to a customer, let's go to an open sales order. And let's open this one sales order. So we go into our line items. We have our finished good again. We understand that from a sales perspective, the customer may ask for a specific lot during the sales process. When you go into the existing sales order and we go into the lot selection of item tracking, we then have the option of going into our lot numbers to select, and we can also, as we highlight on this, open up our fact boxes, and as each one is highlighted, we can then see if there are QC results available for the item and what the document reads and what the results are. Seeing that this one is passed, let's actually select this lot for our order and hit OK. Again, we can use our fact box after we've selected the lot and see the results again.